Hey guys, welcome to Interesting Video on Wild Rift. So today we are back with a Kai'Sa supplementary guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at Crit Kai'Sa. So this build I actually took from one of the top 10 players. Now they weren't in the top 3, but I believe they were like 5th or 6th, so you wouldn't see it here. We do have this funky Triforce build on the second player for a couple of days already, but this build is a build that I took from one of the top players, as I just mentioned, and I was thinking, like, you know what, on hit Kai'Sa right now, like all these builds you see, on hit Kai'Sa, AP Kai'Sa are probably the best builds for Kai'Sa right now. But does crit still work on Kai'Sa? Like, obviously back in the day before on hit was a thing, before Terminus, crit was the way to go with Kai'Sa, right? So let's kind of find out together as we take a look at the video, right? So we're gonna start off first with the Bloodthirster. Now remember, with Kai'Sa, you always want to be rushing a full item first before you go for boots, and the reason for that is you want to get your crew evolved as quickly as you can. So in this case, it's Bloodthirster, a huge amount of stats as well as physical van. For the boots, of course, Gluttonous Greaves is going to be a default, but if you're against a heavy AD or AP team, going for defensive boots here would be amazing as well. And then you have Charge Blade, right? So Charge Blade, the main rationale of Charge Blade is it gives you the burst, right? So it gives you that burst damage where when you fly in and output your full combo, your autos are going to be doing the extra Charge Blade burst damage, and you can sort of try to one-shot or assassinate an enemy squishy, right? And then, of course, you have Runan's Hurricane, right? So Runan's is actually a really important item on Kai'Sa, right? Because this allows you to attack 3 people at the same time, and of course, this allows you to proc your passive on 3 people at the same time. I've always been a huge fan of having Runans on Kai'Sa, because just proccing that passive onto multiple people at the same time has always been a great thing. Now, the only minor issue with going for this third is that you can't delay your 100% crit, but I think in this particular case, I do think it's kind of worth it, right? Then you have your standard last 2 crit items, Moral Reminder for the Armor Pen and Grievous Wounds, as well as IE for the extra crit damage rates. You can swap these around depending on the situation, but I think majority of the time the enemy team would be really tanky by this time, and you kind of need the Moral Reminder. So for the runes, standard ADC loadout, spells as well, pretty standard, flash as well as cleanse. If you don't need cleanse, going for exhaust is going to be amazing, because Kai'Sa is an amazing 1v1 champion, so going for that exhaust would be very helpful. With all that said, let's quickly hop into the gameplay. Alright, so let's have a look at our gameplay itself, right? So you can see already this is a pretty long gameplay, but we do have a very lovely team to play with Kai'Sa, right? So Kai'Sa, of course, loves to play with CC, right? And loves to play with engaged supports. Nowadays, I rarely play Kai'Sa with non-engaged supports already. Sometimes I do play Kai'Sa with supports like Nami, for example, because they do have CC and they can kind of start fights in lane as well. Now here, level 1, you can see we go into an all-in already, right? So here, importantly, you can see I'm focusing the Varus, right? I'm kind of ignoring Nolus, I'm focusing Varus. Ignite goes down into Varus, we get the kill, and here I actually accidentally flash out of the way of the Nautilus hook. I say accidentally because I was actually just trying to flash forward for the last auto onto Varus to get the kill, but I end up killing him already, and then I flash forward and I inadvertently dodged the Nautilus hook, which actually saved my life, right? If I got hit by that Nautilus hook, I think I definitely die there. So I actually accidentally outplayed the Nautilus. You know, these kind of happy accidents do happen, so that's always amazing, right? So Kai'Sa, really good to play with CC. So we have a Leona engage support, lovely. We have Mumu, a lot of CC as well, and we even have Lux and Renekton. Both of them have CC as well. So this is really just a dream team, right, for Kai'Sa. You just need like a Renekton to engage and you can ult in. Mumu and Leona, same story. Lux can hit a random biting on a key target. You can ult in and follow up. This is really kind of a dream Kai'Sa game, right? Of course, you have to also take a look at the enemy team, right? So obviously, Kai'Sa is really good against squishies like Varus and Victor, particularly because they have no mobility, so they're very vulnerable to getting ulted on and just getting destroyed, right? So, of course, Kai'Sa is going to be pretty hard to play against champions like Jax and Nautilus. Of course, Nautilus CC will lock any ADC down. It's always never a fun time to play against Nautilus as an ADC. And Jax also, of course, has CC, but of course, it's that Counter Strike, which basically counters ADCs in general. And also, of course, just a really good champion at the moment. Very strong champion at the moment. And lastly, we have Rumble in the jungle, right? As we go in onto the Nautilus here, we pick up the kill onto Nautilus, I believe. There we go. And then we also have, of course, Varus. Varus ends up going down. Yeah, we have Rumble in the jungle. And Rumble is sort of a tough matchup, but easy matchup for Kai'Sa at the same time. It really depends on whether or not you have ult, right? Let me kind of spell it out for you, right? So basically, if you have no ult, Rumble is going to speed up, he's going to run you down, and you're just going to get roasted alive. If you have ult, you just need to auto him once, you ult behind him, or just ult to the side or whatnot, as long as you're not standing in front of him, his flamethrower is not gonna be able to hit you. And as a result, he's gonna get stuck in that flamethrower animation while you're free hitting on him, and you're pretty much gonna win against him. So whether or not you win against Rumble, it's whether or not you have ult and whether or not you can use your ult to, of course, sidestep his flamethrower. Alright, so we're off to a pretty hot start, right? We have 2-0 and 1 KDA. We have most of the components for the Bloodthirster already, and we're, of course, doing pretty well. Right, so if you can somehow complete Bloodthirster before First Dragon, which is not gonna happen very often because Bloodthirster is a very pricey item, then you know you're in good shape, right? So Kai'Sa is not even that common to get kills in lane. You normally relies on the enemy team misstepping and a very good engage from your support to get a kill. But here you can see Renekton has like a double kill in the top lane. We get a full damage isolated Q onto Nolus. We're both level 5 as Varus is still level 4. He's gonna hit level 5 after like this couple of minions though, so we already kind of lost the window to go in on him and take advantage of our level lead. But you're not gonna be able to always do that, so we're not able to kind of take advantage of that at the moment. So now, since the next wave is not here yet, I'm actually taking this opportunity to get in a pretty deep ward, right? So there I can kind of almost see the blue buff. We can see the jungler if they're doing the blue buff though. And that should be pretty nice to protect us. We already have a control ward in the river as well. So there's pretty much no way that the jungler could gank us unless they enter our jungle from the mid lane entrance, walk behind the dragon pit, and then gank us through the tri-bush. Like, that is extremely unlikely to happen because most junglers in Wild Rift don't go for this kind of creative pathing routes. So I don't think it's very likely that's going to happen. But here we're going to actually pick up our Bloodthirster. We get our Q evolution, and we're on, of course, a spike, right? So Nolus and Varus have pushed in. Now, if we can get a fight here, it's going to be amazing. So Nolus gets engaged. Now, we're just going to focus on Nolus since he's the easy target here. He does put out a bunch of CC on us. We're going to cleanse out of it. Here, Varus is getting CC'd by the Leona. We initially are thinking of initiating a dive, but we kind of call off the dive because it doesn't look like it's going to really work out. Right? I have to commit flash forward, and then I have to go and try to assassinate Varus. Now, here, the Amumu goes in, and unfortunately Victor shows up at this moment. So here Amumu goes in, basically saves my life because if Varus Qs me, I'm gonna die. I have my finger on the flash though, and here Amumu goes back in here. I'm thinking we can actually turn this, right? Because Amumu is kind of crying them to death, right? And here we do get one kill. However, Rumble shows up and shuts me down, unfortunately. So eventually we do go down. Same goes for Amumu, but Amumu flashes for it, kills the Victor before he goes down, right? So eventually it ends up becoming a pretty even trade in the grand scheme of things. But our Lux is gonna maybe die. Yep, she is getting roasted alive. Leona's trying to save her life, but now Leona is in a position where she is in a 1v2 situation, and now she is getting roasted alive by Rumble. Rumble picks up a double kill, and it's starting to go a little bit sideways. However, in general, even though we copped a couple of deaths in the past minute, you can see that my entire team is actually doing pretty well, and we're all, at the moment, doing better than our lane counterparts, right? Or jungle counterpart, for that matter. So, yep, it's pretty nice here. So here Nolus gets caught again. I get rooted here. I don't quite have cleanse. I'm just going to kind of walk away. A fight is breaking out there, but not Nolus. Renekton has gone in way too deep, ends up dying here. Amumu getting roasted alive. Leona gets the chain CC onto the Rumble. We're going to ult forward, get the kill onto the Rumble. Victor ults us, unfortunately, and we almost get the kill on him. Varus. Almost get the kill on Varus, but we don't quite complete the kill. And now Leona is running for her life. However, the snipe comes in from Lux from literally the entire way across the map. She's in top lane, snipes the Varus in the bot side river, almost at bot lane. And Varus ends up going down. I pick up the assist. Very much appreciated. And Varus, you can see at this point, has yet to complete his Essence Reaver. Whereas we are already, a third of the way to our second item. And him not having his first item is a huge drawback. He doesn't have that first item power spike, and he is pretty weak at the moment. Right, so we're going to try to take advantage of that by shoving this wave in and then trying to get some plates, right? So it's very likely that Varus would come here to defend this tower, but he might also go for the Herald itself. Here you can see I already gotten 2 plates. Varus is now here without the Essence Reaver still, but is still able to clear the wave, right? Now here, we can see Varus recalling, right? So I'm not sure why he's recalling, but I'm just gonna shove in the wave, right? And if he completes his recall, I can just bash the tower. So he indeed completes his recall. Tower plates fall, but this just allows me to take the first tower of the game. 350 gold into my pocket. More gold than a kill itself. Jax picks up a triple kill though, and I'm the last person left alive on my team. There's not much I can really do here, so I'm just going to go farm the minions. Now, I could go to mid lane and defend, but I think this is really, really risky because I don't really have vision of the enemy team, and they could just show up and kill me, which is definitely not ideal. So I'm going to wait for my team to respawn. I'm going to let them deal with the minion wave in mid, right? We do lose the mid lane tower, which is a pretty huge loss, so maybe on hindsight, I should have actually gone to mid to try to defend that tower because and eventually no one showed up, right? But it's all the woulda, coulda, shouldas. Like, if I showed up mid, maybe more people would have actually showed up to stop me. So, you never really know whether or not that was the right decision. But here we do get the Solari Charge Blade, and we are able to get the E evolution. So, pretty nice power spike for us once again. We pick up the red buff. Looks like a fight is going to break out here. I'm just going to finish off the Varus instantly, then go for the Nautilus. Nautilus, of course, pops the gargoyles. Is pretty tanky, but we're going to eventually get the kill on him. There we go. And Victor is now forced to run away now. Amumu chase a little bit, but the rest of us are all just backing out, so he's going to have to give up the chase as well. Now myself and Leona pick up the minions here. Leona still has support item and still has Relic Shield, so it's just proccing the Relic Shield here. And here we're just going to continue on pushing. Jax is now on the way. Here, and we have not yet encountered the Jax this entire game, but looking at the situation, Jax and Rumble seem pretty fed, right? Jax is like 8k gold and Rumble is almost there as well. Although myself and Lux are past 8k gold, but definitely they are doing the best on the enemy team, right? And if anybody is going to kind of throw a wrench in our plans, it's probably going to be one of the two of them, right? So, yeah, there we encounter the Jax. Unfortunately here, we get chain CC. Like, we cleanse out from the Jax stun, but we get hit immediately afterwards by a Varus ultimate, and we cannot cleanse 2 times of CC, right? The enemy team has a really decent amount of CC, right? They have the Nautilus CC, Varus ulti, Jax Counter-Strike, Victor, the Gravity Well as well. So I'm thinking that, what, maybe in this game, I need to actually take a QSS on top of having cleanse, right? And it's very rare that you have games where you have both QSS and cleanse, because you normally don't need 2 CC removals, right? But you can kind of see from that incident why you actually kind of might need 2 CC removal tools, right? So here our fight is kind of breaking out at the bottom lane. Leona ulti hits multiple people. We're just going in almost to melee range and we're just blasting them. Victor here is trying to escape. I have my ulti, so I just need some CC. There we go. I ult over the gravity field and we're able to pick up a triple kill onto the Victor. Now that was a really sexy Kai'Sa ult there. Like, you ult over the Victor safety tool and you go behind Victor, assassinate him, cut off his escape, and just murder him basically. And at this point, we have the most gold in the game. We're past 10k gold. However, as I mentioned, despite us being very fed, we cannot discount the fact that the Rumble and the Jax are not too far behind, and they will take the lead if we give it to them. So here, Jax is bashing the Leona's head in, and I'm getting ulted by Nautilus. I try to flash away. I eventually get knocked up a little bit further. Now here, I should have just ran, but I tried to turn back to the fight and help my team. However, I was not quite able to really make the difference because my team basically died before I had the chance to really do anything. And unfortunately, I do end up going down. However, the good news is after getting the triple kill and getting all of that gold, I'm actually able to complete my Runan's Hurricane. And with that, I will complete my last evolve, which is the E-evolve, and also on the 3-item power spike. Of course, as I said, Runan's a really crucial item for Kai'Sa, and of course against their team who is grouping up quite a decent amount and has a really decent front line of Jax, Nautilus, and to some extent Rumble. This Runans is gonna come in real handy. So here, just coming over to the mid lane, just clearing the wave a little bit. Victor is doing the same. Amumu is farming his blue side jungle, so whilst that's happening, I'm just gonna farm his red side jungle. Couple enemies are grouping up in the mid lane. Dragon is coming up as well. So possible kind of like, fight that could happen here. We're just going to just be generally aware of the possibility. We're just going to grab this red buff here. And pings are coming out for Dragon. Amumu is taking a reset. However, the enemy team is kind of around the Baron area, so the worst thing that can happen is you go for the dragon with your team, and the enemy team sneaks a Baron, right? That's very unideal. So you can see we're all at the Baron area except for the Amumu, who insists on going for the dragon. Now this, I think, is really stupid of a decision, right? We need Amumu here for a CC and stuff, right? So here Nautilus gets caught by Lux, basically gets one shot. I QSS out of it. I get rooted by the Varus ulti, and you can see that off of that, Varus gets the stacks he needs to actually murder me. And during this entire time, Amumu is just soloing the dragon, and all of us die, except Renekton, who is about to die, and Rumble actually steals the dragon. So what did we basically get out of this entire situation? Well, all of us, not all of us, but 3 of us died, and we lost the dragon. Amumu made no effort to help us, and he just gave a free leash for the dragon, right? So yeah, that was pretty horrible from the Amumu in particular, because he's really needed in the fight, and you really shouldn't be soloing the dragon as an Amumu, right? You should be helping your team, right? The fight's more important than the dragon, the Baron's more important than the dragon. Like, why are you just running to dragon? Like, okay, you see, there are basically like 2 types of junglers who are really bad, right? Either the ones who never come for objectives, or the ones that go for objectives without thinking, right? So you kind of have to be in between, where you do want to be there for objectives, right? But you do want to know when to give the enemy team the objective as well, and not just blindly fight for every objective, or just blindly go for every objective. So here we're going for the assassination onto Rumble. We're 1 HP here, trying our best. We managed to kill both Rumble and Victor before we died to Victor's ultimate. So not bad, considering we nearly got one shot by the Victor there. But yeah, we really need a jungler who is kind of in between, not just blindly going for objectives or not going for objectives. Here my team is getting run down by the Jax and the Varus as a result, right? So you can see how important frontline is, right? You can see Jax is basically frontlining for Varus, and Varus, who has pretty much been behind the entire game, is free hitting. Amumu's having none of it. He's trying to run the Varus down, as you guys can see here. And unfortunately for him, Varus reaches the fruit. Renekton finishes the job, goes on a rampage, is in his ulti, rage charging up, dashes forward onto the Jax, and is trying his best to get the kill onto Jax. However, he is in dire straits at the moment. He is getting run down by the enemy team. I'm trying to run out of the base as quickly as my tiny legs will carry me to try to help my teammate out. But unfortunately, he gets shut down by the Victor right before I reach the scene. So here you can see Rumble is doing the Baron. However, you see that Varus is dead, and Nala's just back. So this is very fightable for us, right? We're just trying to maintain our distance, trying to find a good fight. Rumble's still aggroing the Baron, right? So we're trying to go and get into the pit and focus down this Rumble, right? So here we're going in for the Rumble. Loadout goes in. I'm trying to kill the Rumble, but now I'm getting zoned away. I'm trying to ult in now onto the Rumble. We get the kill on him at long last. Unfortunately, enemy team picks up the Baron, but we do get 2 kills. As a result, just gonna help out by launching a W onto the Victor for a little bit of extra damage, but I'm 1 HP, so I can't quite go near the Victor. Now here, unfortunately, Varus comes out of the base, Jax as well, and now my Leona is gonna end up going down together with my Amumu. So a little bit too aggressive of a chase there. Unfortunately, we end up paying for it with our lives. Now once again, I'm just gonna go back to farming the jungle. Because honestly, Amumu is a tank, right? Farm on him is not as important as farm on a carrier. I'm trying to desperately reach my my Moral Reminder breakpoint, which is very, very close at this time. Very important because, of course, you have healing on Jax, you have healing on Rumble, you also have healing on to Varus and Nautilus, and of course you have tanky chaps like of course, especially the Jax as well as the Nautilus. So very important to get that, which we just complete. And here minions are starting to pelt the tower. So we're trying to clear these minions as quickly as we can. Currently, no objectives are up, right? So all we gotta really do is just push out our lanes and just farm minions and keep our farm up, right? Of course, enemy team does have the Baron buff. It's probably gonna expire in just a little bit. Jax is getting the bot lane unattended, while Amumu once again is completely ignoring the Jax and just farming his red buff, which really is not that important to do, right? Yeah, but anyways, fight is now breaking out in the bottom lane. Enemy team is really overextended with only the 2 of them there for now. Right, but you can see Victor is on the way, backup is on the way, and if we want to do anything, we gotta do it now before they all show up. Now they all show up as I expected. Rumble, very nice stasis by him to block all of my damage, basically. And now we're a little bit kind of in trouble here, right? We have 2 teammates dead, 3 of us are left alive. I'm just trying to clear the wave. I get chunked up by Victor. Rumble flashes forward with the flame spitter and roasts me alive, right? I wasn't even ready for that. I could not even ult or flash away because I did not expect that damage all of a sudden. Courtesy of the Infinity Orb because I was low on health, right? Now, Nautilus goes in way too deep, ends up paying for it with his life. Rumble, a pretty poorly placed ult, and getting run down by the Amumu. Amumu ends up killing him. Amumu himself, though, ends up getting killed by the combination of Varus ult and the Victor laser. Now, the problem with that is Elder Dragon is now up in 5 seconds, and my jungler is dead for 30 plus more seconds after Elder Dragon spawns. This is horrible because we of course need that smite for the Elder Dragon. Although Amumu has not proven to be a very good smiter, losing objectives to Rumble. However, of course, you always want your jungler for objectives. So here, Elder Dragon is up. So 3 of my teammates are going over to contest the Elder, but I see a split pushing Jax, right? So I can't really go here. And now Jax is going to take the inhib or the base. So here you can see I'm just going for the minions. Unfortunately, Jax still gets the tower, but he takes a lot of damage from me in the meanwhile. I'm ulting forward, trying to get the kill on him. He uses everything, his flash and everything. I land the W, I flash forward, get in a couple more autos, but he does end up dodging them with the counter strike. Here, he's 1 HP. I just need to land his W. Boom! W hits, but with the counter strike, he is able to get tanky enough now to not die. Fortunately, I've managed to distract the enemy team. Nautilus and Jax, 2 people, are there to stop me and not at the Elder Dragon. However, now Nautilus has taken the portal to Elder. Now I'm going to have to do the same, and hopefully I get there in time to make the difference for my team. I'm now going in, starting to blast the Rumble, who is of course the most important target, being the jungler. We kill the Nautilus. Alright. We kill the Nautilus as well. Now Victor is the last one standing. Once again, he's gonna get run down by me. I still have my ulti as well, if things got hairy. Now here Jax is not coming in to contest the Elder, but it's a 1v4 at this point. He tries to go in on Renekton, does get the kill onto the Renekton. However, it's very unlikely he's gonna get the Elder Dragon. He's not getting CC'd. I'm just blasting him. He's killing me. I have to ult away from him, and I'm kiting him, and I finally get the kill on him. Let's look at how broken Jax is, by the way. It's a full build Jax at this point, with multiple armor items, including like Wit's End, Zeke's, and Twin Guard, as well as Asterix. Like, he has gone for such a tanky build, but he still does quite a good amount of damage, right? I finally reached full build here, 100% crit. I'm going to go for magic resist at this point because Jax is a decent amount of magic damage, Varus as well, and Victor of course is a mage, and so is Rumble, right? So a lot of magic damage coming in from the side of the enemy team. Time to go for some defensive capabilities. So now we have Elder secured, right? Should be a pretty free Baron, because enemy team is going to have some trouble contesting. Rumble lays out the red carpet. Leona's just getting roasted by that Rumble ulti. I secure the Baron, thank goodness. And trying to kill the enemies now. I get the kill onto the Varus. And unfortunately, I'm not able to follow up onto anybody from across the wall. I don't want to jump over with my ulti myself. So now with both Baron and Elder, we're going to try to push down and going to attempt to end the game or at least get a couple of towers. Now obviously we can see based on the length of the video left that we did not end the game here, but we are going to try our best to get what we can. Due to the split push of Jax just now, there's a ton of pressure being put onto us in the top lane because the minions are just flowing in to the base not the base, but to the top lane at this point. And here we're going for another inhib, so we get another second inhib here. And of course Jax is a force to be reckoned with. We gotta be careful here. So here, I madman ult in, and I'm actually able to survive and get off quite a bit of damage. Now here Nautilus is running me down. I try to flash away to avoid the hook, but he didn't even actually try to hook me. I'm just flashing closer to him, which is pretty bad of a flash, but thankfully I survived, right? Here Amumu goes in. I'm too low to really contribute anything at this point, so I try to get in there, but a little bit too risky of a move. So instead, I'm going to get a reset instead and just regain my health. Right? Obviously, I'm full build. I don't need any more items. So you're not going to be seeing me get any more items for the rest of this game. Right? I was considering selling one item to get GA or something to that effect. But when you really think about it, every item is kind of crucial in one way or another. If you take away any of the crit items, you don't have 100% crit. If you take away Runans, that's a huge DPS loss. So at the end of the day, I end up just deciding to not sell anything, and in the end, we just straight up go for 100% crit plus Runans, right? Now, in hindsight, maybe I could have changed out like Slurry Charge Blade for like a Maw or something, right? Because there's so much magic damage from the enemy team that I think it probably is going to be worth it. So here, I'm actually trapped in this red buff pit. Get ulted by Nautilus. Nautilus now roots me. I'm just getting one shot here, and yeah, the rest up to my team. Renekton goes in 1v4 and is gonna probably die for it. Down he goes, and now enemy team is not just looking for kills onto my team. Leona is probably gonna be the next to follow. Lux tries to save her, it doesn't really work. Lux and Amumu running for the hills. However, the good news is, if there was a time to die, now is the time. Why do I say that? Because there's no Elder and no Baron up for the enemy team to get, right? So they managed to get our shutdowns, they managed to kill us, but they didn't manage to get any objectives off of those kills. And thank goodness, the top lane inhib is going to be spawning in a minute's time. We really need that top lane inhib, because the pressure being put onto that lane by the super minions is immense. So now, honestly, ideally, I don't want to be farming this top wave because I'm full build already. I don't need the gold, right? So I'm letting Renekton deal with it so he can get more items. But he's actually full build as well, right? So probably she shouldn't be the one to do it either. Anyways, here, I'm needed in mid lane just to DPS in this fight. We probably need, like, I don't know, a Mumu or a Leona to be the one to clear the wave because the rest of us are basically full build, right? So gold is kind of useless at the moment. On the enemy team as well, basically majority of people are actually not majority, right? It's two of them are full build. The two people who are actually fed are full build. The rest of them kind of are working towards it, right? Whereas on my team, everybody is full build already except for Leona, right? So if anyone wants to take the goal, it should be Leona, right? So here we're gonna go for Baron while the enemy team is distracted, clearing minions from their base. Victor tries his best to come in and contest. Now somehow, I knew this would happen, but the Victor ulti steals the Baron. I knew it. Like, I saw his itemization, he's full build. He has Infinity Orb, and my Amumu is a horrible smiter, right? So he smites the air, and Victor picks up the Baron for his team. From the grave, by the way. Ridiculous. So now, off of that horrendous play by Amumu, me and Leona are now trying to two-man the Elder Dragon to secure it for our team. Enemy jungle Rumble comes in, so we instantly have to turn on him and murder him before we get the Elder. However, look at what I'm doing. Like, I'm thinking, I can DPS down this Elder before Rumble's here, no problem. But I don't do enough damage, and I waste Flash here also, by the way. But I don't do enough damage, and Rumble comes out of the stasis and picks up the Elder for his team, which is really, really stupid. Like, this was a game-losing throw, by the way. We gave enemy team both Baron and Elder, which is the two things you kind of need to end the game. So I'm thinking that I just lost the game for my team, right? Like, Amumu lost the game for our team first by giving them Baron, and then I lost the game for my team by giving them Elder, right? So, at least if they got Baron and we got Elder, they can try to push, but if we force a fight, they die. But when now they have both Baron and Elder, they can try to force a fight, and they can push at the same time. So this is just horrible situation for us, right? Here, we're trying our best to defend the base without getting into a fight, because obviously, if we get into a fight, we're going to be in trouble, just because of the fact the enemy team obviously has Elder, and they're just going to eviscerate us, so we don't want to go anywhere near them. We just want to be clearing waves now. Thankfully, they're not really forcing a fight. So here I'm just going to quietly clear the wave. I put a ward over the wall to spot an incoming enemy. You can see Nautilus over the wall. No big deal. Nautilus tries to hook in. Doesn't quite work out. Now here I want to go back and get health, right? Because I'm chunked a little bit. But my team almost gets into a fight. So I'm hurriedly just running back to my team to try to help them. Now here at this point, I have everything up other than Flash, right? I have QSS, I have Cleanse, so CC's not going to be the biggest problem. But unfortunately, I don't quite have my Flash, right? Elder is dropping off in 15 seconds, right? So we can start looking for a fight very soon. Now, a very common mistake made by the enemy team is their Elder dropping off when they're pushing, right? So you can see they're pushing and forcing down the last inhib, right? But their Elder has 4 seconds left, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. So now we can start the fight at this point because they've run out of Elder, right? So here at this point, huge CC chain from the enemy team. I'm going to go Unstoppable, ulti to the back line, and then I'm going to start running them down, right? So here we get the kill on everybody. Victor is the last man standing. I realize at this point we've won the game, right? Victor ends up going down, and we have a wave pushing in mid. Top wave is going to end the game for the enemy team if we don't stop it. But before that can happen, we're definitely going to be able to just win the game through mid. So it's a close to half an hour game at this point. Leona even ults the wave to clear the wave faster. But honestly, it doesn't really matter because at this point, 20 plus second death timers with a minion wave going in and a less than half HP Nexus, enemy team is dead to rights. So there we have it. Crit Kai'Sa is still good. And thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.